Hey, London. Whoa, that's loud. How you doing? That was decent. It's good to see so many of you here tonight. Thank you for being here. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Elise Melton, and I was one of the co-founders of the London Poetry Slam. So to see it at this state today is really amazing. Thanks for having me back, you guys. Do y'all know what you're here for? I heard we were going to hear some poetry or something like that tonight. No? Yeah? All right. This is the London Poetry Slam Finals. Yes. 4 people who are performing tonight, 5 people actually, 4 team members and an alternate will be heading to Montreal to represent London at the Canadian Festival of Spoken Word, the National Poetry Slam, in November. Yeah, so it's a pretty exciting night. All right, do you know what's coming now? For those of you who are freaked out by why the audience members are now calling for blood, this is going to be the sacrificial poet. So we must spill blood upon the stage, but really this is to calibrate the judges. So judges, I'm going to remind you, this is your chance to practice scoring, and this is the bar for the rest of the evening. Okay, so this person is not in the competition, is just serving to calibrate you. Everyone good? Yes? All right. Please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Jaded. All the way to the stage. Three, 2, 1, show the love.
I hit some rocky roads before I met the Candyman. I dated some real nerds, some real duds, but the Candyman was a stud. He was my lifesaver. He gave me his Hershey Kisses. I gave him my cinnamon heart, and together we made sweet almond joy. Boy, oh boy, he was a hot tamale, and the lovin' was good and plenty. I was a bit chunky, a real Rolo, but he never called me a hubba bubba. He didn't mind my Tootsie Rolls, so I'd just eat more. He quenched my thirst, and I made his Pop Rocks pop. He was Wonder Bar, real smarty, and I wanted s'more. He just snickers and says he scored when he met me. I was on cloud 9, and I made him mine. He was a bit of a nut bar, but I didn't mind, 'cause he was Mr. Big. Oh, Henry, take a ride on the Milky Way to Mars. But then along came Baby Ruth, followed by a few more Sour Patch Kids and a house full of Kit Kats. And that's when the double bubble burst and things only got worse. Now the Candyman wants a break, wants to break away, says he can't stay. He's not happy with one woman anymore. He wants a new cherry blossom or a bridge mixture. Says he wants to go his own way. And then one day he left. And that's when the crunch came down, the crispy crunch. I had a hunch he was rapping to M&M CDs and hanging with his marshmallow peeps. He was giving me the creeps. He was smoking licorice pipes and Popeye cigarettes. That's not a Popeye cigarette. Perhaps Willie's gone a little wonka. And that's when I started reading Chicklet and eating peppermint patties all day. The man will pay. Oh, hurl Easter cream eggs at his house on Halloween. That would be a scream. But instead, I just sat home and ate all the candy. I'd like to be a jawbreaker, break his butterfingers or kick him in the whatchamacallit, 'cause he's no longer my gummy bear, and I don't care anymore. And he's seeing that sweet Marie the hoe. I know. But I don't care, 'cause I got me Cracker Jack and Bazooka Joe.
Thank you, Jaded. All right. I'm going to give the judges a little extra time at the beginning because they're just getting into it. At the break, or not before the break because you don't want to miss any of the poetry, but at the break you should definitely visit the merch table. There are London Poetry Slam t-shirts and new London Poetry Slam buttons to be purchased, and all proceeds from the merch table do go to support the team that is going to Montreal. Yeah. All right, judges, was that enough time for you? I know with 4 of you in the team in the middle, it's a lot of talking to do. You're good? All right, 3, 2, 1, put them up. All right, from low to keep them up all the way until I've called all of them, okay? From low to high, I have a 7.3, a 7.5, another 7.5, a 7.6, and a 7.8. Applaud the poetry, not the points. You're good. Thank you. All right, are you ready for the slam proper? Let us get it. Whoa, that was not a sentence. Let's get her going. All right, Erica, you're on stage first. Put them together for Erica. All the way to the stage. All the way to the stage. Put them up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
Four 4,811 kilometers away, there's a village called San Miguel, Ecuador. It was there I met children whose smiles seemed like they could stretch halfway across the world. It was there one girl showed me more often than not the people who are the happiest are the same people who had to teach themselves how to smile. She wore her scars as proud as freckles that only helped to light up her face. You'd never guess that instead of counting sheep at night, she counts the number of meals she's had in the past week on her own 2 hands. She is the one in 3 children who suffer from malnutrition, but she's not just a number, she's a girl. She's 7 years old, she's from San Miguel, Ecuador, and her name is Maria. I don't understand when people asked me what it was like to see those who had nothing. In Ecuador, I saw people who had almost everything they needed, didn't always want more, and they were happy. You want to see people who have nothing? Walk 2 blocks down the street to your local grocery store. Pick up a magazine plastered with pictures of men who treat women like some prize they can win and throw away. Or a woman who wears so many layers of cover-up, it will never cover up the fact that money may be the only thing they ever loved. That is what it's like to have nothing. And yes, in Ecuador, I saw people who earned less money in a day than we keep in our back pocket, but they always had faith. It's for them that I've written prayers on too many pages of poetry to count. But they don't start with dear God and end with amen. They start with please God. Help men who don't understand how to give. Help women whose main goal in life is to fit into a tighter pair of jeans rather than to live. And help children who are given a gun rather than a pencil. A beating rather than a meal. Help children who never get the chance to be kids. I've written prayers on Post-it notes. I've scribbled them into prose of poetry on every piece of paper I can find. I write because someone has to. I write because we're all made up of stories that make us who we are, and there are too many stories that have been through too many surgeries that we just see them as a number. 243 million children are forced to work before the age of 17. 22,000 children in developing countries die every day due to poverty-related illnesses. Now, we are all one person on this earth, and maybe one day our one will become part of a statistic we didn't know existed, so let's start caring now. Because I don't know a lot about world politics, and maybe I don't know a lot about this life, but I know that our hands are meant to fit together, that helping people is what we're here to do, so we can't let big numbers fade the faces of those who need our help. I know that 1 in 3 children suffer from malnutrition, and I know that girl. She's 7 years old. And her name is Maria.
Thank you, Erica. All right, judges, while you're getting ready, audience, do you know what else you can find on the merch table? Jaded, who was our sacrifice tonight, has a chapbook on the table. You can pick that up there, as well as 50-50 draw tickets. You can get those tickets there. You could win a whole lot of money tonight. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah? Yeah? Judges, was that enough time? Okay, I'm going to start telling cheesy jokes to kill time in a couple rounds, so get excited. They're really bad. The funny part is how funny I find them. 1, 2, 3, put them up. Whoa, come on, Fourscore. Hey, no, do not look at those other scores. All right, from low to high, I have a 7.5, a 7.6, an 8.0, an 8.5, and an 8.7. Applaud the poet, not the points. Good. All right, thank you for the house lights. Emily, you are on deck. Matthew, you are up next. Put them together. Hands up. 3, 2, 1, show the love.
How soon to the last breath before death and off to a tomb? Was there ever any room for happily ever after? Mother raised the moon in her womb, born like the sun to the day in the morning, and 144 warnings ring through 9 spheres as the cosmos clears the chaos, ethereal to terrestrial, by the greatest worth of all this earth, enough to take roads rigid and rough by 7 times 7 steps to clear, to climb through to heaven, atonement at the one moment that you actually are ever alive. Gotta dive down, free Pandora, boxed in paradoxes with the models and metaphors sailing along the rhyme through time, space, vibrating vocal cords to words understood in context to this culture, picked by this poetic vulture, said through one face of 7 billion faces on a globe spinning with trillions of sentient beings in the golden lock zone of the sun. These modern day automatons on the run for material, we could question what is real. These feelings expressed, dressed in articulation with elation, my recapitulation of imagination came here for all of you as you're here for me. It's universal symmetry, illusion and polarity, all lies in harmony if you allow change to be or not to be. The tragedy of humanity, mechanically accepted for centuries, eyes think, therefore I'm never actually what those eyes thought. The free inner child, free and wild, moved from that spot, pulled by the Leviathan, dying for attention from the towering great graces of angelic referees on the laterals, vaguely spotted in my peripherals, energetically, not literally, to the laughing mechanical menaces of melancholy, deranged to arrange building from lunar architects, reflects our karma, sinking down when floating became too heavy. The levee breaks by the force of the earthquake, shaken to the core, agnostic ties lying the door for gnosis, to level out homeostasis, and rise from the ancient lake to the rivers flowing to the sea of life, infinitely flowing through a recurring regress, chiseled the philosopher's stone by consistency through the psychological gymnasium of existence. Each to their own, but we're not alone. That thought lies on subconscious shores. Psychological wars revolutionized to make conscious, constantly cross-checkered floors going neutral. The soul sleeps with the essence bottled up with the ego, won't let go, whose paradise lost by a material cost of desire. Descending fire through the river of sticks, calling the tricks of 666 as the soul makes for breaks through silver pillars, living for building pathless roads of freedom. This home of a body exists in a state of relativity, electrified by energy, squaring the circle at the speed of light. Under the veil of this soul's endless night, aspiring atoms for Eve, by antidromia brings androgyny to begin to end continuously. Remember death by one breath. And for what's left, for the rest of humanity, think of the word free. Free. Free.
Thank you, Matthew. Hold on. All right, so I'm a collector of really cheesy jokes, some of which you will hear tonight. And I found, before I came back here, 2 sets of the original London Poetry Slam dog tag necklaces that this is the first merch we ever made for London Poetry Slam. So it's 2 dog tags. One says speak your truth. The other one says show the love. I have 2 sets to give away tonight. Please, if you have cheesy jokes, write them on a little piece of paper and bring them up to me at the break. or before the end of the night. And if I like it, I will say it on stage, and if it's the best one, I may give you a prize. Does that sound good? All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, put them up. I know, I can see it, but it's okay. All right, from low to high, 6.9, 7.5, 7.7, 8.1, and an 8.2. Applaud the poet, not the points. But was that a time penalty? The last one before, and I forgot to look at you? Both of them. Okay, so I apologize for not looking at you. That was my fault. So Inali, 316, so it's a half-point deduction. We're going to do the rat bastard thing for both of these together, so just hold your horses for a minute. And for Emily, no, wait, was it Inali or Matthew? It was just Matthew. Emily's not up yet. That's my bad. Matthew, go for it. 315, also a half-point deduction. Okay, so scorekeepers, you take care of that. We're good to go. Ready? You rat bastard. You're ruining it for everyone. But it was well worth it. Thank you. I'm going to try and look your direction. Just like stand up and give me like a big T if there's another time penalty, okay? Because I'm not that apt to pay attention very well. Okay. As you can probably already tell. Brighton is on deck. Emily, you're up. Put it together. Show the love.
I'm so glad to see a lot of stars out so bright because I might have a lot of wishes tonight. I wish to be prettier. I wish that you want me more. I wish to be smarter. I wish to be richer. I wish to be more beautiful. I wish to be skinnier. I wish that my bones be so sturdy that I have literal strength to stand up straight, stand up for myself from the inside. Let my rib cage be expansive and my shoulders to stop pronating because it's creating barriers for my physical being as well as my emotional one. My heart is being shoved further back, so for that, I wish my bones all of the strength that you can muster. Call on your friends of moons and suns and supernovas to help make this one come true. Oh, see, when I wish, I beg. Like these big deals are riding on the shoulders of a billion-year-old mass of rock and light. It makes a lot more sense to that than to depend on myself for the answer. See, I've only been here for 23 years, and I'm really only getting more questions as it goes on, and so on. Another note. I wish for you not to burn so bright, that I don't even look in the sky to see the first wishing stars at night and to teach me that answers don't even exist. I wish to stop depending on you because slowly disintegrating flames in the sky can't bear solutions to my life's problems. And although hope and a positive attitude are a really nice way to live, they are nothing without drive and confidence and the courage to do so. So I wish for those as well. But see, stars aren't enough. And I think that having so much faith in them has left me begging and hoping and wishing and loving and planning and dreaming each night of this, but not doing. Because dreaming is for sleep, and in sleep we don't do. We shuffle off this mortal coil, laying perfectly still while our mind escapes to ourselves, naked in front of our classmates. I wish I had a better job. No. I wish I had a job I liked. No. I wish I was working the job I liked. No. I wish I had money. No. I wish that the job I liked could actually make me money. No. I wish that money didn't exist. No. I wish that I was brilliant at what I like so I could finally make some money doing it. I wish to be a genius. I wish to be a Princess Cinderella, Stephen Sondheim. I wish that I was more comfortable with myself. More than anything, more than life, more than the moon. I wish that I was more comfortable around people. I wish to go to the festival. I wish that people were more comfortable around me. I wish to go to the festival. I wish I didn't have to, so I didn't feel like I needed to try so hard. I wish to go to the festival and dance before the prince. I wish that my wishes were as simple as Cinderella's. That all I needed was a ball gown and a date. But I'm asking for so much that I don't think fairy godmothers are equipped for. Unless that one can grant me some conscious understanding, I wish that nobody ever taught me how to wish. But we all know that wishing for the past to be different is a nowhere road, unless you are CBC's Being Erica, of course. But mostly I wish that it were different. I don't know, Big Dipper. Can you help a girl out? I hear you're the expert. At least, I wish.
By the end of the night, I will have figured this microphone out. The past, present, and future walked into a bar. It was tense. Judges. 1, 2, 3, put them up. All right, I have an 8.5, an 8.6, an 8.7, a 9.0, and a 9.5. Applaud the poet, not the points. All right, Ted O, you are on deck. Brighton, you're up. Three, two, one, show the love.
She said that I was white, educated, and male. She said that I was privileged. Granted. But then I realized, I got this problem. You see, I grew up in a forested area, standing as an underling, overshadowed in the thick boonies as an insidious recipient of cloud-covered clarity. It brought a solidarity with myself. But luckily, I moved from the elderly vignette to the alley where safety is sold for cigarettes, a ubiquitous assimilation. From former isolation to latter inner-city integration, subsidies sounding like segregation as I recall the neighbors who stood on pigeon stoops, cooped up in fear, their long-belated visitors soon to be near, pensive at the leer of the Grand Inquisitor's cheer. A shapeshifter. In the form of CAS, eviction notices, addictions which stung like singed lotuses. These were the cons. But the pros, they weren't hoaxes, meeting hostesses who I shared golden marshmallow moments in contrast. I remember a woman as good as my mother. She found out that her ex-husband illegally got a Nexus pass from their daughter by forging signatures. She showed me the paperwork from a litany of commissioners who petitioned her not to be a petitioner because there would be an international fire warning about how we had covered up smuggled in white-collar smoke as an extracurricular. I recall with such gall seeing adversity burned into the pores of poverty, making privilege look less like something skin-deep and more like a sunburn. She died later that year. Alcoholism sparked by silence. The irony winds have tasted of ash. The salient awareness has spun on my lungs so that now, my childhood, that was an evergreen lethargy. My adolescence, a contagion of apathy. And now I'm still trying to feel privilege, pivoted in this young existence, considering I've seen spilt tears on women's shelters' mattresses. I won't falter from ponderous to pretentious imposter no longer. I'll stop this saunter from rebellious to relentless wood fodder. Pauper, dressing like a prince, I can't be bothered. I still feel the pang of survivor's guilt every time nostalgia suckles my senses. Unlike those not taught how skin tint tinges when having felt the fire forced on the fringes, with amber tattooed across their faces, it's as if their convictions only matter at the arrival of flickering flesh. I'm still trying to learn how to peel away this inner veil and let this pain heal despite all these years from running from stunning seclusions and insatiable intimidations. Too many invasive infatuations have brought me back to licking black and white insecurities. I just wish that after all this time, privilege taught me a little less about, all these people that I've seen who are my friends with all these difficulties that they strive to overcome, and a little more about how to turn this privileged perspective into justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. All right, put your fingers up like this. If you're judging, you just keep doing that. Everyone else, put your fingers up like this. Go like this. If you've heard this joke before, don't ruin it, okay? Knock, knock. Woo. Woohoo! No? Okay. That's my favorite joke ever. For reals. All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, put them up. Now you know my sense of humor. 7.7, 7.8, 8.0, an 8.2, and an 8.6. Applaud the poet, not the points. Thank you. Good? We are good for time. Ben, you're on deck. Ted O, you're up. Put them up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
How many more times will I trade in my pride for a ticket to ride this broken down merry-go-round? Sitting on a stationary stallion, inhaling paint chips as she screams from the control booth, "Do you want to go faster?" As if we were coming around the final corner instead of just sitting at the starting line. I swear, she needs to get off her high horse right quick before it pulls up lame and they're both put out to pasture. See, she's the type of woman with holes in her jeans. Both in the pockets and the knees. Likes to put her dreams in her pockets and wonder why they're never there when she goes reaching for them. Doesn't understand her obsession with tearing down mountains or building up walls, or why she needs a new man every weekend to validate her self-worth. Tells me all she really wants is someone to say I love you. She wants to say it back instead of saying it first. She wanted me to say I love you. And I really wish I could lie to you and say that I didn't. Even more, I wish I was honest when I said that I did. But I just gave her what she wanted. Not what she needed, but what she wanted. I held her hand and we traveled into the middle of her mind, putting up walls, all the while not realizing we were plastering over the exits, leaving her trapped in a labyrinth of self-loathing. She tells me all she really wants is someone to check under her heart for monsters before she goes to sleep. Only knows the taste of sleep every 4 days, only when the sun's shining. She doesn't want to miss the moon. She tells me she wants to be the moon, so I tried to be the sun, to give her something positive to reflect. Ended up with a distance between us the size of a planet, and I had to sit and watch her create tidal waves every time we tried to get close. Because she's the type of woman who likes to play Russian roulette with a shotgun. Loads both barrels up with emotion, everything but happiness. Don't know if I'm going to agree with a, "Hey, how's it going?" or a "What the fuck do you want?" Because she will never speak with you, only to you, more often through you. Honestly believes that if you don't remember it, it never actually happened. She likes to drink until nothing happens. I'm terrified of the things she does when nothing happens. She tells me all she really wants is someone to write a poem about her. And I don't think this is what she was expecting. But I'm done giving her what she wants. I want to give her what she needs. I want her to use these words to tear down those walls, to patch the holes in her pockets, to use those dreams, to climb those mountains, to feel a sense of self-accomplishment for the first time in her life and realize the only voice whose validation matters is her own.
Thank you, Ted. I already have jokes coming in from audience members. What was Beethoven's favorite fruit? If you know it, you should say it. Right. He was the one who gave me the joke. Okay, judges, 1, 3, 2, 1. Put him up. Oh, wow, I love you guys so much. 8.0. You keep saying higher, and then I get to deliver. It's like the best thing ever. 8.3, 8.5, 8.7, and a 9.1. Applaud the poet, not the points. Rachel, you are on deck. Please welcome Ben to the stage. Put him up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
Bleed freely like leeches need feeding. Withered little wisps, thirsty and thrashing, allow them to ingest your insight. Alternate with intestines, accept them into your anatomy. They will remove any bad blood and festering flesh. Wriggling within your thoracic cavity, savagely swallowing each heartbeat, fat and plump from sucking your plumbing. Know now that they will not fix you. They will gulp at ruptured ducts and simply thirst further when floodgates burst. Let loose within yourself, and they will swim freely. Incorporated into intricate systems, they will explore you. Through tubes, they will line your limbs and itch the insides of your fingers. Crawling beneath skin, you will watch them squirm inside you. They will roll across your tongue and bore passages into your palate. They will slide down your sinuses and summon sickness to the tip of your esophagus. Shivering down your spinal column, they will branch out and traverse your internal workings. Nerves stripped, naked, the parasites will refresh your perception. Under eyelids and protruding from pupils, you will see pieces of yourself as they are chewed and digested. You will understand. They will not stop greedily gobbling your throbbing consciousness. It will be your decision to cease the feast. And when you are spent, and your bones have become brittle, your skin withered, and you are nothing but a mess of churning flesh, the fat pulsing parasites adorning your organs, carefully cut each leech free and feed. They will bleed for you. Your teeth will squeeze and cleave them into pieces. Know now that this will not make you whole again. You were never whole in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right, so I'm going to run out of cheesy jokes by the end of this round, so y'all better be feeding them to me at the break. Are you ready? What do you call a really nosy pepper? All up in your business. No? I got these off the internet, I'm not going to lie. Judges, 3, 2, 1, go. Some of y'all watch porn on the internet. I look for cheesy jokes. 7.6, 7.9, 8.0, another 8.0, and an 8.5. Applaud the poetry, not the points. All right, Alicia, you're on deck. Please welcome Rachel to the stage. Three, 2, 1, show the love.
It started in my family tree, a lineage of depression that landed on me. I couldn't comprehend why I always felt like there were boulders toppling over me, why I always felt just a little too heavy. I was 14 and my wrists were bleeding. Every step felt like I was shackled to the bedpost. I thought I was just different, awkward, uncomfortable in skin that never really felt like my own. I felt frail, paper thin, like out of a way at the mere touch of limestone. I was 16 when the pain of getting out of bed each and every day was pushing intolerable. See, a few years back, they tried to diagnose me with a term I never wanted to hear, tried to make me pop pills I never wanted to take, so I pushed it away, built my walls high, ignored it. Like the spider you see on the wall at the corner of your eye before going to sleep, because hey, you gotta get some rest. I didn't understand why it hurts so much to hold hands. And no 17-year-old girl wants to be alone, so I filled my sheets with the bodies of boys whose personalities I never really got the chance to meet. I kept my walls high, reinforced with regrets, anxiety, and dreams. And depression is still a word that haunts me. I was only 18, still learning how to get out of bed each and every day. I was only 18, and though my wrists were no longer bleeding, I've come to understand why the pain of a new piercing or the tattoo needle pressed into my side, it feels kind of nice. And although my walls are built high, stone upon stone, tonight I'm letting them collapse and rebuilding them Hope upon hope. I have no need to hide. These scars are something I've learned to leave behind. I am 19 years young and finally coming to terms with a skin that actually feels like my own. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, if you want to start hearing better jokes, you better start giving them to me. What did one snowman say to the other? Do you smell carrots? That got a better reaction than the last one. Success! 3, 2, 1, go! I have an 8.0, an 8.2. There we go. I thought you were like losing your voices or something. 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.0. Applaud the poetry, not the points. Holly, you are on deck. Alicia, you're up. Show the love.
When I think back on our friendship, I always remember the day we walked along sandy beaches where rippling waves gently kissed the sand. We walked for hours discussing anything and everything, from the boys who held our hands and caused our hearts to break to the way the world turns and how we wish for it to stop, if only for a moment. On a pile of driftwood we sat, and our chatter turned to silence as we watched the sunset on the coast, our eyes brimming with tears, struck at the beauty of it all. She finally spoke when daylight turned to dusk. She asked me where I thought people went when they died, and I didn't really know what to tell her besides a simple Sunday school answer: heaven. It's wherever you want it to be. Her ocean blue eyes met mine, and deep within them I swear I could see turning tides, and she replied another question. Do you think, when I die, that maybe my spirit could live forever where the sea touches the sky? Smiled at the beauty of her question, and understanding the pain that she felt, held her in my arms and told her, that sounds like a damn perfect place to be. Just don't leave without me. She left anyways. I always knew a girl like that wouldn't stay in one place for long. I wouldn't always be her best friend, because the moment someone gets close to her, she runs. She has always been a drifter, but drifting isn't swimming, always struggling to keep her head above the water. And like water, she was always running, always flowing, always moving, and when you hold on to her too tight, she slips between your fingers and out of your grasp. She sought solace in lovers who would never love her, feeding them cocaine kisses from her delicate lips, each new one as addictive as the last, distorting her vision and blurring her mind. She always did say she was colorblind, not the kind that affects the way that you can see, but the kind that affects the way that you feel. My life goes by in grayscale, she said, her days in black, her dreams in white. Bright was her smile, but dull were her eyes, and she recalled to me a story, one of many wild nights searching to find color. This time it was in a new drug. Magical but natural, she informed me, as if a girl her age to know the hallucinogenic characteristics of the psilocybin mushroom. Long story short, she found the colors she was searching for, temporary euphoria levels she had never found before. I saw her smile and was deceived by its shine, knew she'd been seeking a high to combat life's lows, told her I could be happy for her. She could be happy with herself, but it broke me inside to know that the closest friend I've ever had couldn't find happiness in simply being alive. Sunsets no longer made her cry. One girl with so many feelings, I tried to explain to her that these feelings were gifts, but instead of embracing them, she got a psychiatrist to prescribe drugs to take those feelings away. To take her away. Kind of like the way she always wanted to live forever within the ocean. Free of all emotion, she's content with drifting, although I was forever begging her to swim. I could see shipwrecks in her smile, her teeth, as the rotting boards, her lips, the driftwood, and etched upon them the whispered words I can vaguely remember hearing her say. I'll meet you again someday, where the sea touches the sky.
Thank you, Alicia. All right, another audience submission. Are you ready? What did the 0 say to the 8? Nice belt. Someone do it. Way to go. Judges, you're getting stronger, faster, better, and prettier. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm just kidding. You were pretty from the beginning. 8.0, 8.3, 8.7, 8.8, and an 8.9. Applaud the poet, not the points. And our last poet of the first round, please welcome Holly to the stage.
They say home is where the heart is. So to know where my heart has been first, picture 2 streets. One lonely set of stoplights marks where they meet. There are no fast food chains or big box stores on these corners. This place is filled with small town charm, as infectious as the chicken pox we all caught in kindergarten when people ask where I am from. I smile shyly and reply, you probably won't know it, and it's true, but my heart belonged to those dusty forest bike trails and street hockey showdowns, to cornfields and home-cooked meals and my elementary school playground. We played made-up games because, well, there was honestly nothing else to do. But we played those games until our shadows disappeared and the streetlights called us home. I called those streets home until I started to learn their secrets and began to keep some of my own. I don't know exactly how it happened, but at some point I fell in love for the first time. And though I'd like to say it was as perfect as a Hallmark Valentine, there are reasons beyond being 16 that this wasn't the case. For most, first love marks a coming of age, but for me, it was an inability to come out and tell anyone her name, so she and I made new homes inside our closets. Knowing small towns and words like gay fit together like puzzle pieces picked from different boxes, it was the first time I started to not feel at home in my own skin. My body became an expert at holding things in as I swallowed secrets like confessionals consume sins. The small town I grew up in morphed into a place I couldn't wait to escape from. So I went where any small town Canadian kids struggling with their identity would go. I packed my bags and I moved to the city of Toronto, and there I started a collection. I put a glass jar in my heart and I filled it with acceptance, examples of parades and stories and moments that all told me it was okay to be me. And eventually I cashed in that courage, counted out exactly enough bits of bravery to say, Mom, I'm gay. Oh, and Happy Mother's Day. Again, not exactly how Hallmark drew it up. But my family's words of love were like cups of hot water pouring over the fear that had kept my mouth frozen closed. And though I'd like to say this is where the story ends, I guess the big city was never meant to be my home, because I had to return to my small town when I heard it wasn't how I had left it. Sadly, my parents' divorce came all but unexpected. It's a story for another day, but it's related to the way I have searched for home, and I can proudly say now that I have found it. I have found it in a place where people get on stage and share poems. And I don't mean like roses are red. I mean like people have bled their hearts out onto paper, put tears, secrets, and hopes in the mix, and then shared it with a room full of strangers. Are we crazy? Absolutely. But when my stories are exposed, belted out under bright lights and amplified through microphones, I can't help but think this is my home.
An audience submission not from the front row and my friends that I brought with me. They're awesome, and it's cool to see the rest of you participating. What is black, white, and 46 years old? A photo of the Leafs' last cup win. Until this year. Judges, go Leafs, go. Judges, put them up. I didn't even give you a 3, 2, 1. All right, I have an 8.7. A 9.0, a 9.3, another 9.3, and a 9.8. Applaud the poet, not the points. We're good for time. All right. You have a few things to do on this break. You need to go and buy snacks and drinks. There are some really... Do you want to get this started? Do you want to get this started? Yeah? Should we do it? All right. Amazing. We're going to go in the opposite order from the order we went in the first round to make it as fair as possible. I just want to make sure I have all my super important peeps in the house. Scorekeeper, timekeeper, judges. All 5 of you put up your scores. I don't care what score you give me. My feelings won't be hurt. 1.0? Really? Okay, no, but really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Everyone is here. All right. You ready to get the second round of the London Poetry Slam Finals? Ready? Yeah. Let's do it. Alicia, you're on deck. Holly, come on up to the stage. Woo, 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 woo. Put them up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
I don't understand this hunger for a book about kids killing kids when we bear witness to these scenes of violence on a daily basis. It's true. We like to think that it all happens at a distance, that the stories jumping from newspaper headlines aren't about the heads lined up for class in the school next door, that the horrors of weapons drawn by teens are just fiction spawned for screens, and the victims gone to sleep eternally could never be our own sons and daughters. See, it's into movie theaters we pour, or line up outside bookstores waiting for the chance to put pages in our hands that describe a world where young people are sent away to play a game of survival. But can you not see? Our own youth vie for their lives from behind computer screens, entering cyber arenas that often become battle scenes we fail to take notice as children clutch weapons in hand and click. Target found. Click. Insults abound. Click. Self-confidence drowns. Click. Next time no one's around. Click. 6 feet into the ground goes the body of one who lost the game. Unable to remain a target forever, they take their own lives before their enemies ever get the chance. Yet we praise the young girl heroine who clutches a bow and arrow in her hands, picking off young competitors with precision. How would we feel if the weapon she brandished was a mouse? Her arrows would still find their targets. So would it be any harder for us to cheer for her if she killed her peers with a weapon we could find inside our own house? Would it be too terrible to realize that our children slay each other with words daily, insults hurled like hand grenades, cursing each other to early graves, yet we say, names will never hurt you? I think maybe we should adopt the practice of lighting up our sky like a television screen, showing the bright eyes and smiling teeth of every child that's ever been erased from this earth from bullying. Do you think then that we would pay more attention if faces replaced base statistics of victims, if we saw clearly each and every face that will never wake to see another sunrise? Boys and girls who think taking their own lives is better than being hunted in hallways and online, yet we sit satisfied reading our books and ignoring the cries of children stalked like prey. Harassed for being ugly, stupid, or gay, see the real world is less like a hunger game and more like pure cannibalism. Bullies feed off each other. As hate spreads like a cancer, entering through the eyes and ears, then making its way to the most delicate organ of them all, which is the heart. Bitter remarks tear into lining, taunts and jeers sear through tissue until eventually the heart dies, alongside self-confidence and the hope that things will ever change. See, there's not much difference between laughter and slaughter. So when LOLs become SOSs, will we hear the cries for help or be stuck in our own fantasy world plucked from a shelf where kids kill kids with weapons? Don't tell me that's any better or worse than kids who kill kids with words.
Thank you, Holly. While the judges are getting ready, what do a grape and a deer have in common? They're both purple, except for the deer. What do an apple and an elephant have in common? They're two of God's loveliest creatures. Judges, don't worry about it. Judges, put them up. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, you could do it. Amazing. 8.6. 9.2. 9.2. 9.5 and another 9.5. Thank you, my lovely. Amazing. Thank you, judges. Keep being consistent all night. You're amazing. Rachel is on deck. Alicia, please come on up to the stage. All the way to the stage. All the way. All right, put them up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
Plato, born in Athens around 247 BC, was considered to be one of the earliest philosophers and to this day considered to be one of the greatest. Plato, student of Socrates with a hunger for learning about morality and finding answers for all of life's questions. We learned about him in LVV 4U1, Classical Civilizations, Unit 4, Philosophy. One lesson that didn't sit well with me, you see, Plato made a famous analogy. One of poets and painters, of cobblers and shoemakers, he made an analogy stating that poets and painters are one and the same. They are both imitators. They copy images of virtue and the like, but they never reach the truth. The poet and the painter are only imitators of the makers. They paint images, whether with words or with brush, it doesn't matter, because they know nothing of true existence. They know appearance only. They find, and they imitate what it is that they see without true understanding for how it works or how it is made. I find this strange because when I ask my fellow poets why it is that they write, I receive complex answers speaking of a sense of home created through connections made with others through their words. If you were to ask Brian, he would tell you that poetry gives him freedom, that without it, he'd be forever constrained by the negative emotions that surround him. It serves as a scapegoat to freedom, his own personal oasis. Kaylee and Marcus will both tell you that poetry is about community, about creating acceptance that through poetry, anything can be possible. Ted O will tell you that poetry is like exhaled breath. Jenny Smart will elegantly tell you that poetry is the unavoidable side effect of existing, helping language catch up with thought by evoking emotions rather than naming them. Sean will tell you that poetry creates a sense of welcome, allowing strangers to impact strangers in profound ways. Khalifa will say that he gets lost in words every night. He is at his richest when he sits down and writes. Ian will tell you that through poetry, his real self shines through because poetry slams are a judgment-free place. And when asking Erica, she will poetically say maybe poetry is a form of sleeping where you don't have to wake up. It is when I hear these words spewing from the mouths of poets and I know Plato's analogy cannot be true. You see, poets are the makers. They create home within one another, create community, freedom, and emotion. Poetry creates opportunity for endless possibilities of personal growth, of solidarity among others, and escape from reality. Poetry creates a sense of togetherness, creating friends from strangers, creating an understanding for others, creating an understanding for yourself. Plato had it all wrong. Creation is more than something you can touch with your bare hands or walk on with your feet. It may not always be characterized as a tangible thing. He forgot about friendship, heartache, trust, faith, pain, love. All things that cannot be seen but can be made, can be felt. So don't tell me that poetry is mere imitation. Poetry is creating. Poetry is living. Poetry is everything.
This is one for the vegetarians in the house. Kids, cover your ears, there will be swearing. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because you didn't fucking cook it. Judges, 3, 2, 1, go! All right, I have a 7.5. I have an 8.0. I have an 8.4, another 8.4, and an 8.5. Applaud the poetry, not the points. Thank you, consistent judges. Keep on doing it. All right, we have Ben on deck. Rachel, you are up. Three, two, one, show the love.
Teach me. Teach me how happiness comes to those who wait. I have no patience. It left me at birth. Those 9 months spent in the womb were far too long for me. Where nobody could hear me speak, I wanted to, still want to, be heard more clearly. And birds are so content with just soaring through the sky. Teach me how simplicity can be so easy. For I've spent years trying to make things more simple, wearing myself into the ground. My bones are still shaken and dirty. I have pillaged them for every bit of fight they have left. I am empty. A treasure chest with no gold, all been spent already, but I keep my skeleton in place to keep the hunt alive, hoping people may still try to find me. A shipwreck, lost at sea. See, teach me how to swim. I'm drowning under myself, wading through it feels like the weight of the world. Wading through it feels like the weight of the world, carrying so much history with me. It pulls me down my spine, struggling to stay straight. But at least for now, I'm still aligned. Like the earth to the North Star, like stars in constellations, my body is a mason jar. Fill me with fireflies. I want to be my own constellations. I want to glow like the northern lights. Teach me how to shine. Teach me how to shine. I feel dim like overcast. A wasted youth. A talent gone dry like a body been bled. There is a candle in my soul, a mere flicker. I want to burn like a forest fire. Teach me to ignite. I want my lungs to have embers, my words to have worth. My sentences are pennies and wax. I want them to smoke, to smolder. Teach me how to hold on when the going gets hard. My hands slippery like mud. I keep looking for the loose ends I've let go of in my pockets, empty. And behind closed doors, locked. So teach me how to help people just wake up happy. Because I've woken up over 7,000 times and I still feel like dead weight. Like I'm always searching and never finding. Like my maps lead to all the wrong places. Like I will never be a flower, just a petal, just a stem, just a part of a bigger picture. I will never just soar. And when I sleep, I will always dream. But my lifetime does not feel long enough to succeed. So teach me patience and simplicity. Teach me how to knock down my own walls and break my own windows. Teach me how to open my eyes and really see, how to burn with a yearning passion, how to be thankful for what my plate has given me. Teach me. I am a student eager to learn. Teach me. Teach me. Teach me how to slow down my heart's beating, how to be still, how to wait, how to be okay with being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, this is a parental warning. There may be sexual content in the following joke. What do you call a virgin on a waterbed? A cherry float. I so wish I'd come up with some of these. These are amazing. Okay. Judges, 3, 2, 1, put them up. It is that point in the night, folks. I have an 8.1, an 8.3, an 8.4, an 8.6, and a 9.0. Applaud the poetry, not the points, please. Thank you for your consistency, judges. Ted O, you are on deck. For now, please welcome Ben to the stage. Put him up. 3, 2, 1, show the love.
It may be too late for us. Our lungs burn brighter with each breath, and we are too used to blowing smoke from between obsidian teeth. slipping out from singed lips until our eyes sting. But maybe the stars will shelter our empty husks, but they're likely all long dead, their SOS signals mistaken for twinkling. Reaching us too late, they died off thinking we didn't care. Alone in the final throes of our solar system, we may obtain some small solace in the stars. Now just skeletons in the shapes of constellations, tombstone moons lining the aisles of our excursion. Our only hope will be to find their crypts and respect the dead. Apologize for abandoning them in this expanding isolation. We must plead forgiveness from their children. Embittered and vacuous, voracious successors still coasting on the reputations of their majestic ancestors, too dense to comprehend our regret. They will remain content binging, complacent in their misery. With no home for our roaming bones, we must discover other suns, still signaling in the distance. We won't make it in time. The insatiable silence of space will cradle our corpses, rock us gently through the cosmos we will erode. Scattered slowly through the vast expanse, we will all be silt, twisted double helix glimmering in the dying embers of crying giants. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, this joke was so popular it was submitted by 2 different people. What do you call a crate full of ducks? A box of quackers. No, not so much. Okay, one more for you on this break. How do you organize a party for the solar system? You plan it. 3, 2, 1, judges, put them up for me. I have a 7.9. Another 7.9, an 8.0, an 8.5, and an 8.8. Applaud the poet, not the points. Judges, you're being fantastically consistent. I love you. All right, that was Ben, so it means Brighton is on deck. Ted O, you are up. Put them up. 3, 2, 1, show the love.
The longest message that I ever wrote said goodbye. Now, I know it sounds like a simple 7-letter word, but it took me over a decade to chisel each one of those letters into the base of my spine before I could even consider contemplating thinking about saying it out loud. Because you, well, you were the reflection of the clouds across the river. At first glance, absolute magic. But upon closer inspection, it became apparent that you were just a projection of what you wanted the world to see you as, instead of letting what you actually are rise to the surface. You couldn't see that the river is fucking beautiful. And I certainly wouldn't have dove in head first if I knew you were that shallow. See, I ended up broken inside, my heart hemorrhaging till every crevice was full, every organ drowning, and I was left choking, suffocating on a love I was unable to pronounce because it never really fit into your life, did it? Love. You always said love just ties you down, and you couldn't be tied down. You had to be free. You had to be able to run and jump and skip. You always had to be moving. You could never stop moving because every time you stopped moving, you started thinking about how much you hate the world that you've created. You just want to be yourself for a day. So I took your daydreams, and I pressed them up against your nightmares, hoping there would be a spot for me in the reality that began to seep through the cracks in my fingers. Instead, I was pushed to the furthest, darkest corner of your shadow, living off the dying fires of my hope until the day came where I just gave up, started dancing in the ashes, kicking up sparks, and one of those sparks caught the back of your mask, and the band broke, and the mask fell, and I was left face to face with the realization I've just been standing here talking to myself. So consider this, my apology letter to the world. A goodbye note to the person I wanted everyone to think I was. I don't need this mask anymore because there is not a single part of me that deserves to be hidden. So goodbye to all the clothes that never hung properly on my frame. Goodbye to music that would make my ears bleed. Goodbye to slang that never tasted right in my mouth. Goodbye to places that never felt like home. Goodbye to friends who were only there when they needed me. Because I am not the reflection of the clouds. I am the river, and I am fucking beautiful.
Thanks, Ted. So like I said, I've been touring for the last couple weeks, and this is my last stop. And I don't know if any of you remember, about 3.5 years ago, a friend of mine and I did a show called The Queens of Inappropriate. And the one song I've ever written was a song for that show, and it was a jig about blowjobs. And I've been singing it all week. And Jaded came up to me at the break and was like, I know how much you like head. You should definitely read this joke. That has nothing to do with blowjobs. If a cabbage and a carrot ran a race, who would win? The cabbage, because it's a head. No. Judges, 3, 2, 1, put them up. I have an 8.5. I have an 8.9. I have a 9.0, I have a 9.1, and a 9.6. Applaud the poet, not the points. Judges, keep on being your fabulous, consistent selves throughout the rest of the night. Emily, you're on deck. Brighton, you're up. Show the love!
This is for all the people that want to help but don't know how. July 2011. High pitches complement a monstrous engine resonating from the gas-guzzling tourist bus crawling snail pace through my home, No Daddy Alley. Like a bumbling drunk in an AA meeting, religion has been pushed here before. But my neighbor's reaction to this missionary flying circus backdrop was so perfect, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John Cleese could not have written it better. The evangelicals are coming! The evangelicals are coming! And I was the agnostic opening the door. It only took $500 for me to leave my complex and, on every battered, broken, eggshelled colored door, swearing allegiance to their mantra, no strings attached. Now, I can forgive the supporters of intelligent design for denying attached strings. But what I can't forgive is how I sold my neighbor's heathen heads to a busload of puppeteering heaveneers. Ergo, I'm done. I'm done evangelizing their mixed agenda blessings. Economic trials are just that, not righteous testing. Now can you please tell me the difference between Pharisees and modern-day folks from Tennessee besides Dante and the Divine Comedy? And speaking of the many missions searching for the Holy Grail, well, I found it. Third aisle of Blockbuster. I will send it in the mail. Testimonies of the resurrection. Now Fox News gets biased in a millisecond, yet 2 millennia of crusades and indulgences doesn't indulge any empirical thought. And the Big Bang is just a theory. Well, I've got my own Big Bang theory with Mary, apologizes to the kids. It's called ejaculate. Bang, geopolitical, uncritical, hypocritical Hicks want to rescue me, paint my home and spare me from blasphemy, blasphemy. Bang, 6 houses down, 316-pound John sits on a toilet unsupported. Afraid this month he won't plummet into depression but his kitchen. Afraid this month he'll fall short on his fatherly duty, leaving his 6 kids insuranceless. John does not need the Lord, he needs a convicted landlord. Then there's schizophrenic Mark, pacing every room, grasping a machete. The voices go darker as suicide grows stronger, as he's intolerantly raised his tolerance on his recommended prescription. Mark does not need the Lord. He needs a caring physician. Then there's Matthew, 14, can't read, smokes weed from ghetto contraptions, became sexually active 2 years back, never knew contraceptives, never knew how to be perceptive till 9 months later. Matthew did not need the Lord. He needed a teacher, attention, maybe music or theater. The last thing we need is a universal transfusion. Stop this O-negative solution in your spiritual union like Jesus distinguishes civilized from subhuman. I'm done giving my First Nations neighbors their biblically built quilt missionary movement. I'm done banging on more broken eggshell colored doors, delivering blankets infected like smallpox politics. I'm an agnostic and I am sorry that I was clueless, but next time that they need some help, they're going to need to find another willing Judas. Thank you.
Thank you, Brighton. I met my ex-fiance in an elevator the other day, and we screwed there. It was wrong on so many levels. Right? Yeah? No? Okay. 3, 2, 1, put them up. Sorry, apparently that joke should have been longer. You can do it, Power Team. Yeah. I have an 8.1, 8.3, 8.5, an 8.8, and another 8.8. Applaud the poet, not the points. Keep on being consistent, judges. Matthew, you're on deck. Emily, you're up. Show the love.
Beautiful. I like being told that. The tip of your hat, the holding the door, the lending me your jacket, because sometimes I'm a lady. If you buy me a drink, I'll get the next one. It's 2013 and I'm an artist and chances are so are you, so I don't expect it. But I want to know that you would scrounge together your pennies for a chance to talk to me. And although I hate to admit it, I want your dance hall catcalls, your seduction in the form of, what's up? And anything else completely sexual and intentionally unoriginal. I want your whistles. I want to know that when you look at me, you can't help but think, fuck! And maybe there's no room in this world for a girl who has a smoke show with a mind like mine, or maybe my daddy never took the time to tell me how pretty I was, let alone acknowledge me, aside from the times that I tried to make friends with his wallet, but he should have told me that I am it, that I am me, and that I am beautiful. But I've had to get it in other forms, which some might deem inappropriate, but I let slide because for some time I have stupidly craved to be validated by my looks. I don't just want to be read about in books. I want beauty and hooks to arouse people mentally, but also physically. And maybe it's reaching for the stars here, but I want both the mind of Hillary Clinton and the body of Beyonce. So I will fuse together both sides of my brain. The side that says, be above your sex, transcend it, Emily, with the side that says, look good. And if I could, I would make people turn pages, but also heads. And maybe it's a little bit silly, but is it wrong to just want to be fucking hot? It's not like I want that to be all I've got or seem shallow to anyone else, and I wish I could put it to rest on a shelf, but it's too big in me to ignore. And there is a happy medium between an intellect and a whore. I am beautiful, 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 beautiful. And you are too. People. We are beautiful people. We are sexual. Sexual is attraction, sex, beauty, attraction, love. And maybe I'm going to text you too much and you're going to call me crazy, but the truth is I'm lazy and the truth is now hazy and the haziness in the form of questions of worth are drowning out the sound of your affirmations, but don't worry, be patient, I want them. You see, Marilyn Monroe just wanted to know that all she gave up to be this icon in beauty was worth it, and that she was too. And I want to wear dresses, like cute little dresses, and I want to make messes, and I want to receive caresses, and I think that I have a right to that, a beauty that is much more than skin deep, happy with the mirror so no self-doubt will creep up to tell you to be dismissive of beauty because you have felt that it is special and you are not included, because I haven't felt beautiful all of my life. But now I can't stop picturing me as this wife with children who are beautiful, because they will be told that. Good, bad? I don't know. I'm placing a lot of bets on you calling me back.
Thanks, Emily. All right, last cheesy joke of the evening. Are you ready? Why did the Little Mermaid wear seashells? Because A and B shells were too small. 3, 2, 1, put them up. All right. I have an 8.9. I have a 9.0. I have a 9.2, a 9.3, and a 9.8. Applaud the poet, not the points. Judges, keep on being your fantastic, consistent selves. And Nali has left us for the evening. She's not feeling well, so Erica, you're on deck. Matthew, you're up. Put him up. 3, 2, 1. Show the love.
Capture, capture, capture. This psychological photograph left the path. I fell to the bottom, been feeding on scraps, internally bleeding by the traps of the beast, poised between angelic displays, molding in clay with latent DNA. I see ahead of me 46 and 2 waiting to break through, but what to do with the lapse of reason on the change of the seasons, squeezing me in a strange sea of insanity? And whatever happened to humanity? Why do we suffer so endlessly? And whatever happened to humanity, seemingly dreaming of what it is like to be free? I only wish that could be, drowned in the powdered water until the birth of a fish comes to swim across the earth, the traveler of time and space, nearly lost among the almost hopeless case of 7 billion faces. Third eyes blind. It's hard to find the truth, bottled up in the battle of opposites, compasses held by tourniquets, with insecurity satisfied, left the right side to collide with darkness and process the mess of patriarchal dominance that brings mechanical remnants and rampant over nature, with negligence to nurture what they take. Be gone at the earthquakes. I'm on until the dawn and have will to climb the hill with the Tao and its power right now. Present at the thought, brought with a riot of perfumes that consumes these senses, and the sunspot bursts in fusion to the Leviathan, pouring the cup full of adrenaline, and I'm finding out where the heart has been misfiring from the source, left the course, no remorse of the cause it affected, reflected the vein chains, pull me through the rain, with pheromones smelled, and impressions held, and empathy felt for all the cards dealt, gonna break at the earthquake, and then the tremors measure cosmic structure, rupture and chaos, lost in rapture, capture, capture, capture. This psychological photograph, coming back to the path, the math done, coming back to the sun. No longer will I run, because I'm stronger than when this had begun, and now it would take the volcanoes to wrestle the angels out of this smile. Demonic denial on trial for the error of terror causes Moloch applies to the host who brag and boast to all the hungry ghosts. Only deluded stars, polluted by mental mystics and twisted metal cars, wilted petals settles to kill the 1,000-petal lotus just for others to notice their position. Then they have to dig deep in their system for attrition towards others. Gotta twist them in spiraling patterns in Saturn and find Diogenes landed to illuminate the mind and find what brings you down. Break it and come unbound and plant the seed in the ground and proceed with the need for the death of the ego. And with the breath, let go. And spiral out towards the birth of creation. Hold atomic aspiration and have a will to imagination. Then capture, capture, capture. This psychological photograph, coming back to the path. Watch the rise and the fall, for this too shall pass.
Thank you, Matthew. All right, the next London Poetry Slam is at the regular venue, which is the London Music Club, the amazing London Music Club, at the regular date and time, the third Friday of the month, which is May 17th, 8 p.m., and it's the Anything Goes Slam, which means that no rules except for the time limit apply. You can put on costumes, you can bring props, you can get naked, you can sing, you can do whatever you want. That is legal. Judges, put them up. 3, 2, 1, go. I say get naked and y'all start tittering. All right. 7.5, 7.7, 7.8, 8.1, and a 9.0. Applaud the poet, not the points. Judges, you're being so great and consistent. You have one poem left. Erica, please come on up to the stage. All the way, all the way. Three, two, one, show the love.
Who to be or who not to be is more like a rhetorical question in this society, where we're taught by society the only way we can see is through a lens of judgment that usually hides the truth. This is for the stories that society said were too normal to be published, the stories too common to be ignored. To the girl who doesn't like to admit that time is something more familiar to her hands than a handshake, the same girl that would rather hold the hand of a stranger than her own. Because you can't see in between the lines on her palms where she was never held as a kid. Instead, she had to hold her own with hands that were already scraped from trying to learn how to ride her bike. She knows what it's like to feel abandoned, to have nothing but blood in her heart. So she holds on to time, caressing its beauty, knowing for at least for a while it won't leave her. To the boy who leaves, with an abused mother and abuser father, running away was the first and most valuable thing he was taught. Commitment meant as much as a cigarette butt thrown on the side of the road, a word that scared him more than anything else. So when the smiling girl begged him to stay, he did what he knew best and buried his heart, knowing he could never give her the love she deserved. To the girl with a smile, whose makeup gets darker every day, hoping no one will notice the bags under her eyes. Not from being tired, just from being sad, but no one thinks to ask why. They think with the curve of her lips and an unwavering voice that can talk to strangers, she must be happy. They can't see the secrets tattooed into her skin that only she has to look at. They don't see her every morning preparing for World War III in her mind. There's a difference between smiling with your lips and smiling with your heart. As an optimist, I've learned to master them both, and that's a skill I'm both proud and ashamed to have. I'm both blessed and cursed to have, because I am guilty of the greatest and most frequent lie every one of us tells in saying, I'm okay. Because okay doesn't mean happy. It doesn't mean sad. It means back off, because we're all fighting our own battles, and there's no way we'll know everyone's story. We just have to recognize every person has one. Because that girl with too much time and not enough love, you could look at her and say, she's a druggie. The boy with no commitment, he's a high school dropout. And the girl with the smile, she's just a pretty face. Judgment is this word we think is too long to teach 5-year-olds, but somehow it's okay to ingrain it in their brains at much too young an age. We forget to explain that scars are invisible roots buried deep within hearts that don't see enough sunlight. That insecurities are burdens we try to hide from our mirrors. I was always taught that we have no right to judge someone who's happy. We still have no right to judge someone who's not.
Thank you, Erica. If you kind of wandered in off the street and you've been sitting there wondering, like, how do I get a hold of these really cool London Poetry Slam people? This seems like an awesome scene. I want to join it. You can go to londonpoetryslam.ca. You can email us at londonpoetryslam@gmail.com. You can go on Facebook and find the London Poetry Slam group, or you can find us on Twitter. The handle is LDN Poetry Slam. Is that enough contact for you? Yeah, we're good. All right. 3, 2, 1. Last one of the evening, judges. This is it. Put them up. Can I have an 8.3? An 8.3? An 8.6? An 8.7? And another 8.7. Applaud the poet, not the point. And while we're at it, let's applaud all of the poets who had the courage to take the stage tonight. That's not what I wanted to do. Awesome. All right, so I am going to do, while we're waiting for the judges to tally up the scores and tell us, the thing we really want to know, which is who's going to represent London in Montreal, I'm going to do a poem for you, and then I have a ton of thank yous, and I will tell you who the 50-50 prize winner is and who the joke winner is. We're going to have a top 5, audience yell down to figure out who that is. I picked the top 5 based on how much noise y'all made. All right, this is called Ignoring Intuition, or A Guide to Online Dating for the Modern Straight Woman. 1. Cave to the inundation of encouragement from your friends and your family and your mother, especially your mother, too. Spend hours answering personality questionnaires purportedly based on science with inanely repetitive questions about your preference for passion versus commitment or vice versa. When you get bored of this, ask your best friend to fill them out on your behalf. Add some photos that realistically showcase your finest physical features while simultaneously demonstrating the breadth of your interests. 3. Wade through profile after profile in search of a single man whose attributes fit your criteria, which you have promised your friends and family are quite wide, but are actually inordinately narrow, such as must be at least 5'10", between 2 years younger and 10 years older, employed, attractive, articulate, passionate, funny, wants children, intelligent, educated, includes at least one photo of himself showing his face without sunglasses, and preferably smiling. Is that really too much to ask? Excludes extraneous peacocking photos of his motorcycle, his cars, or just his abs, no matter how chiseled they may be. 4. Find one actually interesting profile that includes a joke that just happens to complement your very weird sense of humor, and begin to get excited at the possibility that one of these hundreds of potential matches may just be someone beside whom you want to wake up in a month, a year, a lifetime. Message him. Wait. When he doesn't respond, tell yourself it wasn't meant to be and settle for a date with the mildly funny and attractive man who just messaged you. 5. Go on said date, and despite your best intentions, decide within 30 seconds of meeting him that you are not remotely interested. Order a drink that you cannot afford and are hoping he will pay for, even though it makes you feel like a horrible feminist. Stay for 3 hours, and a second date anyways, because everyone, including the not-so-kind voice inside your head, keeps on telling you that you are way too picky. 6. Repeat ad nauseum until you crash from vacillating wildly between outrageously optimistic hope and the despair born only of wondering if there is something terribly wrong with you. 7. Field advice from absolutely everyone with an opinion, including the happily and sometimes smugly married folks, like make a list of exactly what you're looking for versus burn the list and just be open, or keep at it, dating is a numbers game, the next one could be the one, versus maybe you should just give up and stop trying because everyone knows you only find love when you're not looking. 8. Realize there may or may not be a chip the size of Texas on your shoulder that may or may not be affecting the process. Shake it off. 9. Give up hope. Not in a depressed sort of way, but in a way that allows you to shed the cycle of despair and remember that your primary purpose in life is not actually to become a wife, but to become the human being you want to be. Let that work sustain you through the lonely days, and maybe even when you find that special someone who falls for your humanity exactly the way it is. Thank you. Aw, thanks, Lexa. You're the best, Fourscore. All right. Thank you very much. I do have 2 chapbooks left. They'll be on the merch table. They are pay what you can, even if that means a hug. Come and talk to me after the show. Only what you can. Yeah, it's awesome. Paul, can you come on up here and be this is my friend PJ. Otherwise known as Paul. He's wearing his pea coat for no apparent reason. It's really hot in here. So I like teasing him. Woo! It's that kind of show, folks. If you lost a black headband or a little black leather change purse, please come and see me at the end of the show. All right, I have 2 50-50 prizes for you. One of them is the actual 50-50, which is $58.50. How even. And the second prize is a $50 gift certificate to Cantina Restaurant, which sounds very exciting. So if you have 50-50 tickets, take them out. The winner of the 50-50 cash prize is number 551788. Do we have a winner? I'll give you a second to look. One more time, that's 551788. If I don't hear from you by the end of the next number, I'm going to pick another one for the cash prize. Okay? This is for the Cantina gift certificate, 551783. Do I have a winner on that one? Okay, I'll give you another second to look. 788, anyone?
Did anyone win?
You've got 788? You've got 788? Perfect. We have a cash prize winner. Do we have 783? 783, going once, going twice.
Sold.
Yes? No? 783. You have both? Oh my God. You are lucky bastards. Thank you, Paul. Give a round of applause for my assistant, PJ. You can come and see us afterwards. All right. By audience applause, the top 5 jokes are of the evening. I'm not going to retell the jokes. I'm just going to give you a reminder, okay? The Leafs Cup photo joke. The chicken crossing the road joke. The cherry float virgin on a waterbed joke. The screwing your ex-wife in an elevator wrong on so many levels joke. And the Little Mermaid sea cup shells. All right. Would the contributors of the Little Mermaid joke and the cherry float joke please come and see me after the show for your prizes? All right, I know you're all excited to hear who the team is. I have a whole bunch of thank yous to do first, so please bear with me. First, to our amazing volunteers, without whom, honestly, this could not be possible. I have done this. Without you, it just wouldn't happen. To our videographer from Take 5 Digital, Nick, thank you. To our sound and lights man, Travis. To Cheryl and Barb for the photography. Just keep clapping. Dave at the door. Mike and Kara at food sales. Kaylee at the merch table. Megan and Olivia are timekeepers. Sarah and Sue are scorekeepers. And a big round of applause for our judges. It is not an easy job to get yelled at for an entire evening. Thank you to DJ Media Frenzy up here on the stage with the tunes. To the Palace Theatre, our incredible venue this evening. Cantina London for their generous contribution, as well as London Edible Art. Canada Comfort Foods, dropped my pen, it's okay. To the London Arts Council and the Canada Council for the Arts, really without whom this would not be financially possible. Let's give a big round of applause. To all of you, give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! It was an amazing evening. And before we tell you the team, I have one last person who I want to call up on the stage. Holly, please come on up here. So, I know that probably most of you don't really get to come here. Don't really get to see what it takes to really run a show in a community like this. I have done it firsthand, and I cannot even tell you the blood, sweat, and tears that this woman has gone through to put this entire season and night together. So please put your hands together for Holly Painter. All right, do I have a scorekeeper who wants to bring me the scores? Yes? No? Someone going to bring me the scores? You know, that is part of why we're here, not the only reason. I know you all just came for the cheesy jokes. More jokes? No more jokes. Well, I did get a lot. I could tell you all the ones that didn't make the cut. They were great, but you wrote them out. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, and they're even in order. Okay. Our alternate heading to Montreal to be with the team is Alicia with a 50.6. With a 51.1, Rachel. With a 52.5, Ted O. A 53.8, Emily. And last but certainly not least, with a 55.5, Holly Painter. Can all of the poets please come up on the stage for a photo opportunity? All the poets, not just those 5 that I called out. Come on up, all of y'all. That does not look like enough poets. Poets, where are you? Even if I didn't just call your name, come up. No? You're not doing it. Okay, amazing. Is someone taking a photo? There we go, I'm getting out of the way. Congratulations to the 2013